Good afternoon to all the beautiful people out there who's catching Body Mind Soul Live Talk number 94 as we welcome you to Body Mind Soul magazine platform, whether you are catching this on YouTube or Facebook. You know what? Do one favor for me. You can like and share this talk, which we are going to talk about when you are spiritual. Do you still have challenges? So one of the entire intention of the talk today, together with my guests all the way from South Africa, is to also be that support to whoever that currently might is going through their own life challenges in their life. And we want to shout out to you that you know what, you are not alone. And Nadine is also here to share with you, her own personal story and also the journey that she has been going through in the past 2 years. I'm going to tell you, you will not imagine what had happened to her in the past 2 years, that's for sure. I'm not going to break that. I'm going to let her tell you and share with you directly. So if you are catching this live together with me, drop me a message or a comment and let me know that you are here with us. And I am definitely going to welcome any comment or any question from the floor together with Nadine. And I'm going to share with you or throw you two questions. Have you ever wondered if spiritualists also go through life challenges? Or do you think they live in their own bubble only? Oftentimes when we talk about the word spiritual back in like what few years ago, people are a little sensitive and just thinking that people who practice spiritual or who believe in this, um, they live in a unicorn land and they are not living in reality. And that is the thing that I often got it from my friends as well when I told them that I start to embark on my own spiritual journey, and they would give me one kind of look. And that's when I change my words, my choice of words, and I start to say, you know what, I'm embarking on a self discovery or self realization journey. And that's when they were like, oh, yeah. So tell me more. Do you need to discover yourself? Don't you know yourself? Well, honey, I don't really know myself. And I'm still on the quest of discovering myself. So if you are with me today, you can drop me a few messages, share me your love, send me your love. It's been a long time. I didn't do the pyong 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 thing with everyone. And yeah, we're going to talk about if you are, when you are spiritual, do you still have challenges? And if you are not spiritual and currently you're feeling really low, your spirit is low, everything doesn't seem working for you, stay with us, stay with us and ask us questions, ask our guest question as well, listen to how she is going through and how she walked through and how she walked out, or perhaps she's still walking on the path. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for her to let us know as well. So if you are watching this, you can do SNL. That's what I learned from one of our audience last time during live. Share and like this topic, or share and like this live talk. If you are on YouTube, you can still share it with people and just drop me a comment over there. If you're catching me from YouTube, let me know you are from YouTube, or even on Facebook, and say hi to me. I like to engage with people. I love to hear it. My team is telling me, Chris, imagine you are a radio announcer that people is only listening to you and you can't hear any feedback. Are you okay with it? I'm like, oh, it's gonna take me a lot of work because I wasn't trained from there. But anyway, I can't wait to embrace all these new experiences with everyone. Yeah, so it's a beautiful Saturday, a very bright sunshine. I really hope today it's not going to rain because I'm traveling later. Oh my God, I have someone that I've not seen for such a long time. Hi, Celine. So many heart-shaped and roses. Thank you so much, Celine. I know I still owe you something, so don't worry. Don't mention it here on the public, but I'll get back to you shortly. But anyway, how are you, Celine? So nice to see you here. And you know what? You can actually share it with your friend about this as well. I'm sure a lot of us are feeling quite overwhelmed with everything opening up. Like what I shared yesterday, even though Father's Day is happening tomorrow, somehow I feel this year the vibe of the Father's Day celebration is not as hype. as last 2 years, even Mother's Day last month too. So I believe it has a lot to do with things opening up in our country, Malaysia, and everyone is trying to catch their breath. Everyone is rushing for all those things that they might have missed in the past 2 years, especially when it comes to work, all the KPIs, the deadline, the due dates. So perhaps all of us are feeling a little overwhelmed. So I hope in this 1 hour, you will find that light at the end of the tunnel. You will find the ease of breath. You will know that you are not alone. And Body Mind Soul is always here to support you. And if you feel, you like what we are doing, you can always join our community, Body Mind Soul community, where you can read all our digital magazine, our e-copy for free. And sign up is for free. It's one of the way that we always wish to impact life positively to all the people who come across with us, who somehow just got connected, who find us on Facebook, who found us on YouTube, who found us on Instagram, or even just typing, body, mind, soul balance, and they saw us on our website. So this is one of our way to give back to all of you who have been searching. So yeah, join us, Body, Mind, Soul community, and you get to read all our e-magazine since the first volume up to the everlasting published volume. It is a lifetime free for you. And that is one of the way. Isn't it great? Right? It's great. Oh my God. Yes, I've seen another one who I'm going to say hi to you later. Fabulous. Hope you have been well and thriving. Yes, yes, yes. You can feel. Eva, I miss you so much. Happy weekend, Christina. I miss you so much. Thank you. Pyong, pyong, pyong. Okay, so I know the regulars are back and it pumped me up. I really have to work on myself, like, becoming like, imagine I'm a radio announcer where I'm talking alone and still feeling that pump. So it's just so much. Body Mind Soul Magazine, thank you for the warm welcome, being jam-packed with life. Exactly, Pyong Pyong. That's what I feel too. I really felt that way too. Seriously. So that's why we, the entire team, when we found out what Nadine is going through, we were like, you know what, Nadine, your story is so inspiring. So let us share it out with people who might be having something similar with what you're going through, and whatever that your the wisdom that you have, let's shed some lights to the people out there as well. Eva, how are you? Christina? Well, like our traffic, bumper to bumper. Our traffic in Kuala Lumpur during the during the peak office hour is always bumper to bumper, isn't it? So that's my journey as well, bumper to bumper. I must say there is up and there's low. And I like one of the article where it was contributed by Lily. I think it was Love is Life, Life is Love in our January volume, where she mentioned, life is never a straight line. We just gotta accept that life will never be a straight line. You know what? Yeah. Okay. So Eva, I really miss you. You know what? I really miss you in TGIF talking with me as well. So I hope to see you soon. Yeah. Okay. I hope all is well. I'm not gonna waste too much time because I've never done an 8 to 10 minutes opening and allowing my guests to wait at the back for such a long time. I'm gonna bring her up, right? And yeah, so let's warm up your palms together with me. It's been a while, I say this, yeah. And clap your hands together and let's welcome Nadine Rosin, spiritual mentor and advisor all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Oh, good
Hello.
morning. Well, I'm saying good morning, good afternoon, Christina. Always lovely to join you. And I'm having a ball backstage, so really don't worry about me. I'm just
Well, it's
I'm
this,
just
yeah.
appreciating all the love I see for you and for the team. And just it's so lovely to always come back onto this platform with you and the team at Body Mind Soul. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I know you are, rather a little low spirit at this point of time. I can't believe, things change so much. The last live talk that we had, I think it was in in March, and we were talking about manifestation. You were like so happy about it. You talk about numerology, you talk about creations, and then the next round, when we intended, to have this live talk today to talk about dreams. Remember, that was
Yes.
something that we kind of planned in the pipeline, but we always go with the flow of our life, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely, we do. And I
Yes.
love what you are saying, that life doesn't work in a straight line. We can think that we plan what's coming. We really can't. It's more like a little tornado, on the spiral, and we go up and down this spiral. And so, yes, today we're here talking about some challenges.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I always feel a lot of us, including myself, I have to admit and confess, prior to, practicing meditation or making meditation part of my life, daily practice, or, diving into that spiritual world, or like what I opened in my opening credits, I mentioned, instead of using that word, I say it, self-discovery journey. I used to judge that too, thinking that people who talk about love and light are people who are not living in the reality, not facing the real world, and just living in their own cocoon of, unicorn land, basically. I must say that I am guilty for that too. And I thought, when we become spiritual, there's no problem in our life. But that's not true.
That is not true. That is not true. You're right. And and I think in a way it's just so comforting in a way to know that I think if you are human, you are not immune to challenges. You are not
Wow, I
immune
like
to
that.
difficulties. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, what you practice. If you are a human being, you will be faced with challenges sooner or later. For some people, it does seem they have a little less of a
Mm,
challenged life or a challenged path. That's
mm,
all karmic stuff. Everything can play into that. But if you are human, you will be challenged. And I think that could become, I think the more people know that then the less they will be so shocked when something goes wrong.
mm. And I like, a lot of motivator speakers, they actually did mention that challenge is part of the life, and it actually expand and make us a better version of ourselves. But before we go in there, I just want to pull this out from Celine. Spiritual is deemed as woo-woo or occult. Yeah. Spiritual people have problems too, but the way that they handle and perceive the problems are very different from those who are not awaken. Okay, so that is why we are here to have you, Nadine, who is a spiritual mentor and advisor, to share with us, how has your past 2 years been? I think we start from there, then people can relate.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start from there because I did mention earlier, I can go way back or I can go back to a certain cycle. But the
Mm-hmm,
past 2 years, I'd say just pre-COVID, really have tested, we say very much we need to walk our talk. You know,
mm-hmm,
in the spiritual community, there's a lot of talk, but are you really practicing what you preach? Are you really living your philosophies and
mm-hmm,
your practices? And so, 2019, I'd say, kicked off with my father being diagnosed with cancer. My brother was going through a divorce and he had moved in with me. My father had moved in with me. Um, and I would even say I started to see a bit of decline in my business. And so there was already a lot of pressure building up. And then, of course, March 2020 hit and the world just changed as we knew it.
yes,
And
yes,
there we were in our bubbles. Um, and now we're all like, in our bubbles, in our little boxes, in our homes, trying to survive, right? And so going into
mm-hmm,
survival mode,
mm-hmm,
and still with all these challenges, less income, going with my father to treatments. Unfortunately, that didn't work. Um,
Mhm.
and so just moving through that process, and then coming to the end of 2020, 21, both my father and brother catching COVID-19. And
Wow.
at the same time, and having to nurse them both, but my brother was so severe, he had to be hospitalized and
Mhm.
unfortunately passed away. And
Mhm.
so you never, even though you're prepared, and even though I've done a lot of work with death and dying, one is just never prepared for that loss. And at such
Mm.
a young age, very
Mhm.
unexpectedly. And it's not just my story. Many people have lost loved ones this way, not being able to say goodbye, see him, be in a
Yes.
hospital, be at the
Yes.
bed. It's
Yes.
traumatic.
Yes.
Um, and at the same time, I also had my own health issues
Mhm.
developing at that time.
Mhm.
So, from my brother's death, that resulted in, without going into too much detail or too dramatically, but losing his children as well because he was divorced. The ex wife started with a bullying and a very abusive approach.
Mhm.
Um, and you never think you think you only bullied in school when you like little, or you
Young.
think you're only bullied on the sports field, but as an adult to be bullied, and as an awakened adult, I would hope as a more awakened adult to be bullied, you would be surprised how that can really it can still infect you. It can still
Mhm.
infect
Mhm.
you. So losing the children with it, and still going through that process now. Things are not
Mhm.
tied up or wrapped up. Um, and then coming into this year, and I had quite a big accident and dislocated my shoulder, and so now I'm caregiving for my father. I don't really have a lot of support. While there is community in
Mhm.
my space, I don't have that close support of a partner, a husband,
Mm.
lots of friends or family. So really, the whole journey has been also just that independence, that you have to become self-reliant.
Mm.
And where do you turn to when there is no one to turn to?
True.
Um, so now having an injury, my arm, has been in a cast for like 3 months, trying to cope with life one-handedly. And then I had a small fire in my house, which I'm very
One
lucky.
one
One,
after
one after
another.
the other, a small fire in my house. My poor father's health has declined, my business, these ups and downs, it's like
Mm.
the waves in the ocean. They keep coming.
Mm.
So, it's that thing. If someone thinks they can switch off the ocean, well, try again. It's the flow of life. That is the cycle. It does keep coming. It can change, high tide,
Mm.
low tide. And when we then begin to realize this, that's what has helped the
Mm.
navigation of
Mm.
of this up and down, and it just keeps on coming and keeps on coming. So that's just a little bit of background of
Mm. Mm.
yeah.
And you know what, when you are sharing about the past 2 to 3 years, it's really showing like one after another, and it's never ending. And I guess for those who are going through some challenges, or some difficulties in their life, they do feel it that way. And when you were mentioning about the passing of our loved ones, I recall my uncle passed away last year as well, and it's the similar condition as well, and just very sudden, positive. I'm sure a lot of those who are listening, one or two, we heard of stories like that. It's not that we wanted to bring it out to, make it very pity or sadden, but what you were sharing just now made me realize that because of the practice and the foundation I've built through understanding, using meditation to understand my emotions and allowing myself to express that sadness, though we understand the theory, right, Nadine, like what you say, the life and the death, there's the beginning, that's the end, and the end is not the end, the end is the beginning. We understand all this theory, and it doesn't need a person who is spiritual to know all this theory as well, but be able to walk with the theory. So that is the diamond, right? That is the part that we wanted to share with everyone as well. And I remember when I received the news, I actually allowed myself and paused for a while, um, to to cry it out, all out in the meditation, in my own, where I hold a space for myself. And before I rush into to support my mom, because it's her brother and also the rest of the family members, before I actually rushed into become that pillar, become that support, I allowed myself to acknowledge my emotions, to acknowledge that I'm sad, to acknowledge that though I believe he is in a better place, but yet I am sad, right? I feel heartbroken, so that is the beauty of it. Instead of pushing it down, hey, no, you have that kind of knowledge, you shouldn't feel sad, you should be at peace,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I kind of i kind of learn it that it's not that way. But Nadine, how did you go through whatever that you're going through right now? Perhaps you can inspire anyone. And also for all the audience, if you wish to ask any question, or if you wish to share your own wisdom as well, do put it into the comment. Yes, Nadine, please go ahead.
Well, this is where the spiritual practice kicks in, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that without some kind of foundation, without some kind of knowledge, that is when you have those two responses. So either you crumble and go into being the victim, which,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, in the past, I would very much, go into that victim archetype, like, why me, poor me? But the minute you then take that spiritual practice and knowledge and go, but it's not just me, it's others, and you are able to then have compassion for others going through the same, you raise the vibration, you come out of victimhood, and you, like you said, you regroup. And then while you're supporting, like your mother, you're still supporting yourself.
True.
So while it is my whole world, my whole world has shattered, but it's someone else's has too,
Mm.
and so if I uplift them, I'm uplifting myself too. And there's a beautiful practice. So this is one of the practices I use in Buddhism. It's called Tonglen, where you breathe in others' suffering for them. You want to make it better, like you wanted to support your mom, and you breathe out whatever love and compassion you have, and you give it away. When you give
Mm.
it away and you breathe in, it kind of resets that cycle of life, birth, life. The whole cycle of life comes to completion, and that's where we find peace, I think.
I love you mentioned about cycle, because you wrote two articles. It's about this, the energy, was it energy about seasons? Seasons
Seasons.
come and go, right?
Yes.
And part one was published in our April volume. Part two, which is the last part, is going to be published in our July volume. So for those, if you have joined our community members, go download the volume 32. Volume 33 is coming up in July, in another 2 weeks, where Nadine talked about how seasons affect us as well, impacted us as well. So Nadine, with all that, like you talk about numerology has cycle as well in our last live talk, and I'm
Yes.
just gonna get the admin to pop up the link for anyone who's watching it right now. You can watch it again of what um, Nadine shared. But Nadine, knowing this numerology knowledge, does it help you and does it serve you on what you are going through right now?
Absolutely, Christina. So that's another one of the practices I bring in. If I would not know what cycle I'm in, then I would think I'm a crazy woman. You know, a lot of people also who think we live in unicorn land, they also think we like crazy women. Um, and yet, so I know I'm in an ending of a cycle. I know I'm in a year 9, which is your
Mhm.
endings, your completion, your closure, your forgiveness even comes in there, your acceptance, your letting go, so that you can start anew. So yes, even the day I had the fire, I was a little bit shaken and I was a little bit crazy woman, and you know, now I can, make fire. This is amazing. But still, it nearly burnt my house down. Um, Knowing that that fire actually cleared out quite a lot of energetic stale energy. It actually,
Mhm.
the saying when, light a fire under yourself to get yourself going, it actually
Mhm.
brought in a gift. And without having this knowledge, I would have just, or people would just think, oh, it's such a tragedy. It's so terrible. What are you going to do? But actually, not very long after that happened, maybe a day or two later, I really kicked into gear. I really got going.
Mm.
It gave me such an opportunity to really look at all my old stuff and clear things out. And
Mm.
so
Mm.
without that knowledge, I would have sat there for 2 years instead of 2 days. In when we're younger and we don't know, or let's even say like with a breakup, we can cry for months and months and months. Whereas now we really can move through things faster. Not that we want to bypass anything. We're not saying we're going to just, get over it, because that's very dangerous too. Not allowing ourselves to really process and feel. But
I
we
want
do,
to dive in this. I want to
yes,
dive in this.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
Nadine.
yeah.
When you talk about bypass, I guess a lot of us, the term toxic positivity comes out
Mm,
recently as well. When everyone is pumped up, hey, stay in that positive vibes. Be positive. Have a positive mindset. What is your view on this when a person is going through challenges? How do we balance this positive mindset at the same time acknowledging what you are going through?
this is such an important question.
Yeah.
And it deeply concerns me when people bypass their emotions and their reality. And you'll find a lot of people do this through like escapism. So they'll turn to alcohol or pills or drugs or lots of distraction, going out, making lots of plans, not being able to sit
Mm,
with themselves, or they will just not be able to move. They will just lie in bed all day, sleep all day, not move very much, not do very much,
mm,
just lose interest. And so,
mm,
we always want to come back to the middle way. While we do need to escape, we can't always be in the trauma of our lives or the challenge. It's just that middle way. And so this toxic positivity of people not even allowing themselves to grieve, to cry, to feel, or, I hear sometimes a lot of it, well, just get over it, just build a bridge and get over it, just
pull
pull,
yourself together.
pull yourself together. It's going to be okay. While it might be well intentioned, it's not healthy or helpful. It's just
Mm,
not helpful. It's like telling someone when they're a little bit upset, just breathe, just breathe. Well, I am breathing. Just, if I wasn't breathing, I'd be dead. So it's not helpful, even though it's well intentioned. And so it's so much healthier to allow the space, to allow yourself to fall apart. You
mhm,
know, that's the journey of the phoenix. That's actually the journey of the spiritual warrior, is to
mhm,
almost melt and then rise up again into a much stronger version. Like when you put mosaics or pottery in a fire, you would need that fire to strengthen, to
mm,
solidify, to align. And so I really encourage people to allow the process to happen. Don't put timelines on it. Don't think grief is like, well, today it's denial and tomorrow it's anger, and that linear journey. But then it's finished. Then you're never angry again. Well, guess what? It doesn't work like that either. And we know that. We know that we are just like the seasons, Christina. That's where we all are, always come back to this very wise world that was created by something divine.
Mm-hmm.
We are like the seasons. We are ever changing. We might be in a summer where it's beautiful, and that's actually when you should be practicing. That's when you should start learning, start the self-development, start expanding, is when you're actually going through the good times, because you have the capacity to process it. When a tragedy has just happened, you don't want to go listen to a podcast. You really don't.
I really want to highlight this, because oftentimes people who are in their good times, they just la 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 la. It's like singing a song, la 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 la. They're really in their la la land, and they stop everything because life is so good. Why should I bother to
Yes.
improve myself? Why should I bother to learn something? Why should I bother to practice when I'm really having a good time of my life? And yet, we know that life is not a straight line. Life has that up and down. And when you're down, like what you say, I don't want anyone to nag me or to lecture me or to tell me anything. I'm really not in that mood. So Nadine, how can we, inspire anyone out there to always consistent practice what you practice, or have that heart to learn, or to know themselves?
Firstly, I think it's important that I think it's important to have a sound spiritual practice based in knowledge. So,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is for you, you might not be interested in what I'm interested in. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to, go do meditation and yoga and astrology and numerology, and just pick one thing that interests you. Pick one philosophy. Pick something that you can just start to learn more about, so that you can have some knowledge about the subject matter or the spiritual principle that interests you. I think it all starts there, is listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube, episode. Just find something that, and even in the good times, that even lifts you up more.
Mm-hmm.
Because without the knowledge of knowing that nothing is permanent, that even that
Mm-hmm.
good time, you can have millions, billions in the bank, you know, that will not buy you health when you're in the hospital and there's no
Mm.
cure. Then what do you turn to? So the question is always, when everything is stripped from you, what and who and where, what do you turn to? So having that base is so important. And the earlier you can start that journey, call it self-discovery, call it self-development, growth, even call it positive mindset. But
Mm.
just start with some kind of spiritual practice, some kind of knowledge, self-development knowledge that's going to support you when the bad times come.
Can I mean, let make it really beginner for those who might, this is the first time they hear this out. With all this spiritual knowledge, or positive mindset, all the wisdom and skills, how does it help you through in your journey? Is it you able to have the ability to heal yourself, or you have a clarity, or you have courage, you have trust, or whatever? Nadine, how does it help you? What are the benefits of having all these things?
Oh, wow. Well, the benefits are, even if we look at just the week I had from, Wednesday, I was really very emotional. and feeling a bit overwhelmed with everything I had to tackle, like, and then just instilling those disciplines to today where it's a very calm centeredness. So practicing any kind of spiritual practice, or that it brings clarity, it brings discipline, it expands your trust and hope. And also you get those people who are always hopeful and cheerful and nothing ever gets them down. But I prefer to look at my hope, my faith, my trust. It's not always switched on at 100%. I'll be honest. I don't
Mm.
think many spiritual people always feel everything at 100%. We're not always in alignment. We're not always having a great day. We really aren't. Let's be honest. We're human, remember. But it's like the moon, right? We go through phases. So my trust is always there, my faith is always there, the hope is always there. But sometimes it's at full moon, and sometimes it's just a crescent. Sometimes it just goes down a little bit. And so that is what it brings to one's life, the benefit of knowing that you can be also self-sufficient, self-supported, um, not relying on the fickle material things of this world, or on not relying on people who don't have the capacity to help you. Sometimes it's not that they don't want to, but we go through a lot of disappointment, I think, on the spiritual path, because sometimes we do put people on a pedestal and, oh, they're a guru and they know everything. And then this has happened a lot to me. And then, like, you'll go on a retreat with them and you see their very human nature. You see the ugliness, you see the irritation come out, you see them being not so compassionate. And so we've got to also realize that we have to, this doing any spiritual practice helps you trust yourself more. It
Mm.
helps you, it helps you build your trust and faith and hope in yourself that you can get through this tunnel, no matter
Mm.
what, no matter what is
And
thrown at you.
I love how you put about the trust with our moon phases, because I love moon. I really enjoy
Mm,
doing sky gazing to the stars and the
mm,
moons and the sun as well. And as you are sharing, you just reminded me how harsh I was with myself, that I constantly, beat myself up when I realized my trust is not at the full moon. When it's on the crescent, I'm like, no, you can't. You shouldn't. Because with all the knowledge and wisdom that you have, you should not have this single side of doubt. And that is where that toxic positivity kicks in, right? And
yep.
and of course, I go through my own journey to understand, yeah, I'm still human after all. It is just a journey. It is just a piece of knowledge that can help me when I'm at my lowest. And I must admit to you, Nadine, I too go through a lot of emotional challenges in that past 6 months, and it wasn't easy for me. There are times I just seriously just really don't feel like getting up from my bed, and like it's literally dragging myself to work, literally dragging myself to host the live talk, and I have to switch, put myself in that space where we walk the talk, body, mind, soul, impact life positively. And if I'm not in that zone, I'm gonna drag the entire ship down, man. So that really helped me a lot doing what I practice, that's for sure. But
Mm,
Nadia, I have an important question for you. How
mm.
how do you allow yourself to trust? Of after all these things have gone through, you do mention that practices that you do, blah 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 blah. But how do you allow yourself to trust it and to stay strong after all?
Well, firstly, thank you for sharing that little part of your journey. It's important for people to know that Christina is not always switched on. Christina is
Yes.
not always full moon. I think we only have to worry if the moon had to disappear. Then we really, that's when we worry. But as long as it's that crescent, that's such a beautiful, that's sometimes even more beautiful. It's sometimes that vulnerability and
Mm.
that questioning yourself, it's even more beautiful. So just be with that, please. you know So just thank you for sharing that firstly. And then how do we come, or how have I come,
Mm.
to trust myself? Is that what we're
And
looking
to
at?
trust life, to
To
trust
trust
life,
life.
because oftentimes when we are at the good, we can trust, no issue, because everything is just so colorful, everything is just so beautiful, everything is lovely, I'm in love, everything is love, life is love, love is life. But when you are hit by a stone or a storm or a tornado, that's when you will say the otherwise. Life is not love anymore. Life is dark. Life
That
is
is
black and
true.
white. Yeah.
Yeah.
How am I going to trust when life is in that state? So I hope you can share some to those who are going through this right now.
So this is what I think I have to say around the topic is that, because a lot of people will say, well, you just do, you just feel it. Well, that's not helpful either, is it? It's not helpful. And these are the things I've also struggled with over the years. Well, it's not helpful. Or, when people say, oh, you'll just know it's the one. No, it's just not helpful. I need something practical. And so I think it's having to discipline, but it's not a
Mm-hmm.
harsh discipline. It's having to train. Let's use the word train. It feels a little bit easier than discipline. Discipline the mind. Committing to not even the path, but you're committing to yourself. We're so willing to commit to other people. Oh, yes, I'll marry you. Oh, yes, I'll be your girlfriend. Oh, yes, I'll work for you when you sign the contract. We're so willing to give ourselves away and commit to other. But why can't we commit first to ourselves? Like, why aren't children taught this from a young age? Like, you know,
Mm.
we're taught to look after others and be the caregivers, but we need to caregive for ourselves too, give the care to ourselves, not just care give. That's
Mm.
the giving, you know what I'm saying? And so realizing a lot of it then comes down to realizing one's own worth, one's own
Mm.
divinity. We're created by a creator, believe it or not. You don't have to. You can believe we just are biological beings that, evolved over the years, but we have evolved, or we've been created by a spark of divinity, and we have to look after that. We
Mm.
are the we are the keepers of the earth. We're the keepers of ourselves. We can't just
Mm.
expect other people to do that for us. And so for me personally, that's what it comes down to again, is that I have to trust that I have everything inside of me to move through the challenge. Yes, I would love support like you. I love support. I love interacting. I want people to be there. Of course, we all do. We want that. But what
Yes.
happens when we don't have it? Then
Mm.
I come back to what I have, what I've been given, what I've
Mm.
learned that's here. And
Mm.
that sustains me and supports me unconditionally and so strongly. It cannot break. Nothing can break that then. That is the
Mm.
soul. That is the soul that is unbreakable. That is what the strength of spirit really provides, the spiritual practice really provides.
Mm. I like how you tie in everything and mention soul. Every time when we have to go out and meet people, when we say we are from body, mind, soul, they always ask us, what is soul?
Mm. Mm.
Body, mind, definitely they know what it is, but soul, what is soul? You have just explained it so beautifully about it. And I guess the audience are rather quiet as they are listening to it very attentively. I feel, you have shared with us so much different perspective, different angle when it comes to, practicing and being spiritual, challenges. One of the things that you mentioned earlier is no one is immune to challenges or difficulties. And it is always good to prepare ourselves so that we don't get shocked. And oftentimes we get shocked, like, how can this happen to us? Yeah. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. Life is life, right? And Nadine, how do you allow yourself to go through with all this flow in life?
Well, I'm just going to land on the back of what you said is that this is another little secret. No matter how prepared you are, you're still going to be shocked. You know,
Mm. And
uh,
it's okay to be shocked,
and
right?
it's okay, and you should be shocked. You know, your body is set up, your nervous system is
Mm.
wired that way to receive
Mm.
shock and then process
Mm.
it, right? So we actually naturally wired for this.
Mm.
But yet, so no matter how prepared you are, you're still shocked. But the difference is those who have some kind of practice or knowledge and those who don't. The people who don't stay in the trauma response and the shock too long, and it becomes a loop, and then they're stuck on that wheel, right? And it's so hard then to
Mm.
get off, and then that's a separate cycle. But if you then have that knowledge and awareness, you you come out of it much quicker. You don't stay in that feedback loop of shock and trauma and difficulty response. You don't stay in
Mm.
victim. um,
Mm.
and so that is also really, I mean, to me, that's a bonus. If anything, that's why I would do spiritual practice, so that the shock will happen, but then something else kicks in. And what is the something else? That is when that soul, that is when that kicks in and that takes you
Mm.
through that knowledge, that discipline, that commitment, and whatever it is, whether it's, and there's so many things you could do to help yourself and assist at that time. We could list all the modalities, but I won't waste people's time with that. It's what works for you. Reiki,
Yes.
yoga, meditation, writing, prayer, mantras are most important in my life. Mantras and positive affirmation with the mantra recitation. There's so many things that then kick in automatically. I always say it's very easy for us to work on our physical, right? You get up in the morning and you go to gym. Um, and after a while, it just becomes automatic. That's just what you do.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with your spiritual practice. Even on the mornings when you don't want to do it, even on the mornings that you don't want to go to work, you don't want to go to gym, there's just an inner authority, in a sense. It's an inner authority because it knows it's for your highest good. When you have the intention to act for and with your highest good, that helps you with the flow of life. That's when the flow comes back. That's when the waves stop crashing on you and you get that beautiful swell in the ocean, when you can just lie there and
Mm.
float. That's when that returns, and this flow is when you just allow that inner authority and that to kick in and help you through.
Wow, I like that. And you reminded me as well, when we talk about practice and being disciplined and there are times that we just don't feel like doing
Mm,
it at all, but that's exactly the time you should do it so that you break that cycle as well. So that remind me of, we all send our children, or even I was being sent to learn piano.
yeah.
And the basic foundation is every day you must practice your skill, and in all majors and minors,
Mm-hmm.
because it will help your fingering position. It will help you to remember that all the minor and major, all the clef or whatever, right? and
Yes.
and it's just that one day you did not practice, the next day when you got put your fingers on the keys again, it
Mm,
just looks strange.
yeah. I
You
love it.
just feel strange.
Yeah.
Yeah if yeah if if we are to use so many different way of saying, do it not just at your good time, and not do it not just at your bad times, but at your good times too. Same, you go to gym, you are very diligent, and if you are in love with music, you want to become that good pianist, or that great musicians, you put time into it to practice. So how about our life? Do we put time and effort to practice whatever that will make the best out of our life? And that really stirred in the back of at the back of my mind, and that
Mm.
is something that it's so beautiful that it just came to me that day.
It's,
We were just talking about it. Yeah.
yeah, it's such a lovely point. And so this is also what I say and what I allow myself, because even if I don't do an hour, I can just do 5 minutes. That's it.
Mm,
So on the day
mm,
you really don't feel like it, just do 60 seconds of focused practice. It's enough.
mm,
Then drop it, because we're human, right? I don't
mm.
want to practice every day. I don't want to either. Let's all be
Mm.
honest. Even if it's
Yes.
something you're passionate about, you go through phases where you either lose the energy physically or the interest, or something shifts. Something shifts, and
Mm.
sometimes it is a sign. Well, maybe piano wasn't for you, or maybe this isn't for me.
Yes.
But if it is for you, then just bring it down. Just do 2 minutes, let it go, and build up again
Mm.
tomorrow. It's
Mm.
okay. It's okay to
Mm.
not be perfect. It's okay to not be rigid. It's okay to just allow yourself the space.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, and I love this, and before we end, I just want to kind of like
Mm,
recap everything that we say today and everything that we share, and I hope those who hop in the earlier session, they will actually finish the entire thing towards the end. And if you are still staying with us, thank you so much. But I just want to tell you and to let everyone know that when you are spiritual, yes, challenges still comes. It's just that you have that practice and that knowledge and that wisdom to help us to go through it with a little bit more mindfulness and a little bit more ease. It's not that we don't face challenges. It's not that we don't have bad moods. It's not that we don't throw anger or tantrum. We still do. After all, we are human, right? And but with all this knowledge, Nadine have shared with us because of her knowledge in numerology. She knows what she's going through, and I like the numerology chat that we had. You mentioned to me that I've forgotten what's the number, but I remember that this year my life cycle is to go through a lot of changes, and because of knowing that, I'm a little bit more at ease when
mm,
things have to change again. Whether
mm,
it's my personal life or even if it's something to do with my work, and even with the live talk, perhaps I need to change the look and feel. I'm not sure, but it's more at ease rather than questioning why is it constantly changing and it's not settling. When
mm,
is it going to settle? So this question bars me so much until that day. It's sort of like mentioned, what, you are at a challenge phase where you were blah blah blah. I remember something like that, and that really helped me. Sometimes we just need that a little bit, not too much,
mm,
just that little bit to keep us going, that skill and that knowledge to allow us to heal ourselves, to have clarity, to gain that courage, to go through it with ease, to take that action, not instead of sitting it down, like what you have said, when we are in shock. But we have that ability to process that shock, and it's normal to have that shock. But it's more important is what we choose after facing that shock.
mm,
What is that action we decided to do? The discipline that we believe and practice. Wow, that power of acceptance is so strong from you. And you
mm.
always mention, I think a few times, nothing is permanent. Life
That
is a cycle.
that's it. That might be the only thing that has kept me sane, is realizing that really nothing is permanent. That's true. It's ever changing, ever changing.
It's everyone is saying this. Nothing is permanent. Change is the constant. And never truly feel that essence and that substance and the wisdoms of this sentence. Nothing is permanent, change is the constant. Until reason all my experience. I can
Mm.
be so happy in the morning and I'm crying my heart out in the afternoon.
There we
And
go.
I was wondering what is wrong with me.
Mm.
Then by the evening, I start to feel that little joy in me. I'm like, am I bipolar or something? And why did I or am I going through an early menopause or something, which I know I'm not?
That's another conversation. Okay, that can be our next one. But you know what he's saying, and that's so liberating because just knowing that you can change even from the morning to the afternoon, that you can change from, 3 hours, it can all change again. That
Yes,
is that is the juice of life.
yes,
That's the gem
yes,
of
yes,
life. Yeah.
yes. Yes. And I believe this is what the two of us wish to really share it out with everyone, especially those who are going through challenges. And if you are one who happened to stumble upon this live talk and perhaps whatever that we have discussed today will be of help to with your friend, do share out the link of this live talk with your friends, and we hope that you can also join us on every week when we are going live. And Nadine, I'm just going to take this opportunity to invite everyone to come over to
Sure.
our free online self-development workshop for our community members. Of course, priority seats is given to our community members, and it's happening on the 25th of June, which is next week. If I'm not mistaken, I think yes, it is next week, next Saturday. So next Saturday we will not be having live talk because all our team will be focusing on this discover the mystical you. If you at this point of time is going through lots of challenges that you feel perhaps you can't make it, you know what? It's time to discover that little spark, like what
Mm.
Nadine have said, that divinity that is within us, that little light, that little mystical you that has been sitting inside, and you might not know how to find it. So Jessie, a certified meditation practitioner from the Golden Space, will have actual activities to have a role play so that you can discover that mystical you through a role play activity. So you can book the seat. It's never too late to do that. And yeah, so that's about it. I want to share with everyone. And Nadine, what will be, before we end this, what will be your last takeaway to all our listener?
Mm. I want people to know you can get through it. You can do it. You have the courage. You have the all the capability. You have it all inside of you. Just believe that. Start tapping into that. There's always light. There's always hope, just as there's always the moon in the sky. And
Yeah.
just from my heart to everyone out there, from my heart to the team, um, just thank you for the privilege of this platform. It's so important. Each week you have topics and speakers who really just shine light where it's needed. So thank you.
Thank you, Nadine, for coming and joining us. And you know what? For those who wish to write to Nadine directly or maybe engage her services, especially on the numerology, I really like that. You can write to Nadine, and the link is over here. And I believe my admin will also publish this so that you can click the email directly. And with that, I would say, you know what? Thank you, Nadine, for sharing with us, and being so open and really let people and let those out there that know that no matter how much we practice, whatever we practice, challenges are still inevitable. And it is about our attitude, it is about our daily practice that help us to pull it through and pull it through with a lot more ease. And we always love to say this as a light worker or spiritualist, with love and with light. And that's it that we wish to send to everyone, and have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all those who are celebrating. Happy Father's Day to all those who are not celebrating, but yet we can take this time to honor the man in the world as well. So, with that, thank you, Nadine. And goodbye to all our audience and all our viewers. And we see you next week at my TGIF on Friday night. And let's hope that we will bring Nadine back in another few months later, and let's see which cycle, Nadine, you will be in by then, right? And
Can't wait.
it's becoming, right, it's kind of like exciting to know,
It is.
up and down, perhaps up again, who knows?
Who knows? Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Christina.
you. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.